Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, watching the stars through the main view screen. Today would change everything for humanity. After years of sending radio signals into space, someone had finally answered. The alien ship hung in space ahead of them, sleek and beautiful like nothing humans had ever built. "Captain, they're requesting permission to come aboard," said Communications Officer Lisa Carter. Her hands shook slightly as she worked at her station. Everyone on the bridge felt the same mix of excitement and fear. "Granted," Jake said. "Tell them we're ready to meet." The alien delegation arrived 30 minutes later. Jake had assembled his best people in the main conference room. Dr. Paul Carter stood beside his sister Lisa, both scientists eager to study their first alien contact. Commander Rick Stone kept his hand near his sidearm, watching everything with soldier's eyes. The aliens were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They moved with grace that reminded Jake of dancers. Their leader stepped forward and spoke in perfect English, which surprised everyone. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Ambassador Zektar of the Villani Republic and the Galactic Federation. We welcome you to the greater community of intelligent life." Jake smiled and extended his hand. "Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Horizon. We're honored to meet you." Zektar looked at Jake's outstretched hand with confusion. After a moment, he touched it briefly with one long finger before pulling back. The other aliens whispered among themselves in their own language. "Please sit," Jake said, gesturing to the chairs around the conference table. "We have so much to learn from each other." The meeting started well. Zektar explained that the Galactic Federation contained over 300 species from across the galaxy. They traded knowledge, resources, and culture in peace. War was almost unknown among them. "Your species shows great promise," Zektar said. "Your radio signals demonstrate advanced technology. We believe you would make excellent members of our Federation." Dr. Lisa Carter leaned forward eagerly. "We've prepared information about Earth and humanity. We'd love to share it with you." She activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Earth appeared, spinning slowly, blue and green and beautiful. The aliens watched with interest until the data began scrolling beside the image. Zektar's large eyes grew even wider as he read. "This cannot be correct. Please verify these numbers." "What's wrong?" Jake asked. "Your gravity measurement, it shows 9.8 meters per second squared. That would crush most species in the Federation." Lisa nodded enthusiastically. "That's right. Earth's gravity is perfectly normal for us." The whispers among the alien delegation grew louder. One of them, a female with silver markings on her face, spoke rapidly to Zektar in their own language. He responded with what sounded like sharp disagreement. "What about your atmospheric composition?" Zektar asked, his voice tight. 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen," Dr. Paul Carter answered. "Pretty standard for us." The silver-marked alien made a sound like a gasp. She spoke again to Zektar, more urgently this time. "That oxygen level would poison host Federation species within hours," Zektar said slowly. "How do you survive in such a toxic environment?" Jake frowned. "Toxic? Our air is perfectly safe. We've been breathing it our whole lives." "Show them the weather data," Lisa said excitedly, not noticing the growing tension. The hologram changed to show Earth's climate patterns. Hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, droughts, floods, and lightning storms played across the display. The aliens stared in horror. "These storms," Zektar whispered, "they would destroy entire cities on our worlds. How do you survive such violence from your own planet?" "We build stronger buildings," Commander Stone said with a shrug. "Sometimes we evacuate. Sometimes we just wait it out." The silver-marked alien was speaking rapidly now, her voice rising. Other members of the delegation joined in, all talking, at once in their musical language. "What about your wildlife?" Zektar asked, though he looked like he already dreaded the answer. Lisa's face lit up. "Oh, Earth has amazing biodiversity. We have everything from tiny insects to massive predators." The hologram showed images of Earth's animals: lions hunting, zebras, sharks attacking seals, bears catching salmon, wolves pursuing deer, humans running marathons, humans climbing mountains, humans diving into the ocean. These creatures, Zektar said, pointing at a pride of lions, they kill and eat other living beings? That's how nature works, Paul explained. Predators hunt prey. It keeps the ecosystem balanced. And humans? The silver-marked alien asked, speaking English for the first time. Where do humans fit in this killing system? Jake thought for a moment. We're apex predators, I suppose. We're at the top of the food chain. The conference room fell silent except for the quiet hum of the ship's engines. The alien stared at the humans with expressions that were easy to read despite their different features. Fear. Pure, simple fear. You are predators, Zektar said quietly. You evolved as killers on a world that tries to kill everything that lives on it. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds harsh, Lisa said with a nervous laugh. But we're also farmers and artists and teachers and engineers. We build cities and write music and explore space. After surviving whatever your planet threw at you, the silver-marked alien said. After learning to kill to stay alive. Commander Stone crossed his arms. What's the problem here? Every intelligent species must have evolved somehow. No, Zektar said, standing slowly. Most Federation species evolved on garden worlds, safe worlds with gentle weather and herbivore ancestors. We learned to cooperate because cooperation was rewarded. You learned to kill because killing was necessary. The other aliens were standing now too, backing toward the door. Their graceful movements had become nervous and quick. Wait, Jake said, rising from his chair. Don't leave. We can work this out. Your world is what we classify as a Class 12 death world, Zektar said. Only 3 species in Federation history have ever survived on such planets. 2 of them are extinct. The third is quarantined. Quarantined? Paul asked. Why? Because death world species are dangerous. You survived by becoming the most dangerous thing on your planet. Now you want to spread across the galaxy. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. We want to join your Federation. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. That is what we fear most, the silver-marked alien said. Predators who cooperate. Killers who build spaceships. The aliens were at the door now. Zektar turned back one last time. The Federation will discuss what to do about humanity. Until then, we strongly advise you remain in your home system. And if we don't? Commander Stone asked. The aliens looked at each other. Fear and determination warred in their large dark eyes. Then the galaxy will have no choice but to protect itself from you. They left quickly, their graceful movements now looking like flight. Jake and his crew stood in the empty conference room staring at each other. That went well, Stone said dryly. Jake looked at the hologram of Earth still spinning peacefully above the table. Home, beautiful, deadly home that had forged humanity in fires hot enough to terrify an entire galaxy. Lisa, send word to Earth. Command, he said quietly. Tell them first contact was successful. Successful? Paul asked. They ran away in terror. Jake watched the alien ship on the view screen as it accelerated away from them, racing back toward whatever safe worlds had raised such fearful people. They'll be back, he said, and they won't be coming to welcome us. 6 months had passed since the first meeting with the aliens. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Phillips gripped the command chair of the UES Ranger as her ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the edge of human space. What she saw made her blood run cold. Hundreds of alien ships filled the darkness ahead of them. They formed a perfect sphere around the entire solar system, blocking every route away from Earth. The ships were sleek and white, gleaming like pearls against the black of space. My God, whispered Captain Nina Brooks from the navigation station. How long have they been here? Sensors show they arrived 3 days ago, reported Lieutenant Tony Miller from his position at the science console. They're maintaining perfect formation, no gaps anywhere. Amy studied the massive blockade. Each alien ship was twice the size of her own vessel. Energy readings showed weapons that could turn the Ranger into dust with a single shot. Any response to our communications? She asked. Nothing, Nina said. They're ignoring our signals completely. Amy made her decision. Take us closer, but keep our weapons powered down. I don't want to give them any excuse to shoot. The Ranger moved slowly toward the alien formation. As they approached, one of the largest ships broke away from the others. It was magnificent and terrifying, covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and move in the light. Incoming transmission, Tony announced. The main screen flickered to life. The face that appeared was unlike the graceful Villani they had met before. This creature looked like it was made of living crystal with multiple eyes that glowed with inner fire. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass. Human vessel, you will halt your approach immediately. I am Hive Queen Ralthus of the Krillian Empire. By order of the Galactic Federation Emergency Council, your species is now under protective quarantine. Amy stood up slowly. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Amy Phillips of the Earth Defense Force. What gives you the right to blockade our home system? The crystal alien's multiple eyes focused on her with disturbing intensity. Your species has been classified as a galactic threat. For the safety of all civilized worlds, humanity must remain confined to this system until a permanent solution can be found. Permanent solution? Amy felt anger building in her chest. What kind of solution? That has not yet been decided. The Federation Council continues to debate your fate. Nina looked up from her station. Colonel, I'm detecting more ships arriving. Hundreds more. The view screen split to show the tactical display. New alien vessels were appearing at the edge of the system every few minutes. Each was different, representing dozens of species from across the galaxy. They all shared one thing in common: they were all pointed at Earth. How many ships are out there now? Amy asked. Over 2,000 and still counting, Tony reported. Energy signatures suggest enough firepower to crack a planet. Amy turned back to the alien commander. This is an act of war. You've surrounded our homeworld with a military force. Hive Queen Ralthus made a sound like wind chimes in a storm. War is a concept unknown to civilized species. This is protective containment. We are saving the galaxy from your violent nature. Our violent nature? Amy laughed bitterly. You're the ones with guns pointed at our planet. Because you are Deathworlders. Your entire existence is built on violence and death. Your world kills its own children to make them stronger. You eat the flesh of other living creatures. You wage wars for resources and territory. You are everything civilized life has evolved beyond. The transmission cut off suddenly. The crystal ship moved back to join the blockade formation. Amy turned to her crew. Get me a secure channel to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. Within minutes, Admiral Ben Davis appeared on the communication screen. His weathered face looked even more tired than usual. Amy, thank God you made it back. We've been trying to reach the outer system patrols for days. Sir, the situation is worse than we thought. They have us completely surrounded. Thousands of ships. What are your orders? Ben was quiet for a long moment. Earth Command has been in constant session since the blockade appeared. The President has declared a state of emergency. All civilian traffic is grounded. All military forces are being recalled to Earth. What about our colonies on Mars and Europa? Cut off. The blockade includes all human settlements in the system. Amy felt sick. Sir, there are families out there, children, they need supplies, medical care. I know, we're working on it. Ben's expression hardened. Amy, I need you to try something. Take the Ranger to the civilian shipping lanes. See if you can escort some supply ships through the blockade. Sir, those alien ships have enough firepower to destroy us easily. I know the risks, but we can't just sit here and let our people suffer. 2 days later, Amy led a small convoy of supply ships toward the Mars colony. 3 cargo vessels filled with food, medicine, and replacement parts for the life support systems. The merchant captains were brave volunteers who knew they might not survive the trip. Captain Steve Adams commanded the lead cargo ship, the New Boston. His vessel was old and slow, built for carrying goods between planets, not for military action. Stay in formation, Amy broadcast to the convoy. Keep your weapons offline. We're going to try to slip through quietly. They made it halfway to Mars before the alien patrol found them. 6 white ships appeared around the convoy like sharks circling wounded prey. Human vessels, you are in violation of the quarantine decree. Return to Earth immediately or face protective intervention. Amy opened communications. These are civilian supply ships carrying medical supplies to our Mars colony. Innocent people will die without these supplies. The quarantine allows no exceptions. Return to Earth. Steve Adams broke into the channel. Like hell we will. Those are our people on Mars, our families. Captain Adams, maintain radio silence, Amy ordered. But it was too late. The lead alien ship fired a single shot across the bow of the New Boston. The energy beam missed by less than 100 meters. That was a warning, the alien commander announced. Return to Earth or the next shot will not miss. Steve Adams was a merchant captain who had spent his whole life running supplies between the colonies. He had a wife and 2 children on Mars. Amy watched on her sensors as his old cargo ship began to turn around. Then something changed his mind. Maybe it was thinking about his family. Maybe it was the way the aliens had said, protective intervention. Like humans were animals to be controlled. The New Boston suddenly accelerated, racing toward Mars at full speed. Adams, what are you doing? Amy shouted. My family is on Mars, Colonel. They need these supplies. The alien ships moved to intercept. Their white hulls gleamed as they prepared to fire. Captain Adams, stop your ship immediately, the alien commander broadcast. This is your final warning. Steve's voice came over the radio one last time. Tell my family I love them. The alien ships opened fire. 6 energy beams struck the New Boston simultaneously. The old cargo ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness of space. Amy stared at the expanding cloud of debris that had been a ship and crew just seconds before. 73 people had died on the New Boston. Good people who had volunteered to help their fellow humans. All ships returned to Earth, she said quietly. The trip back to Earth took 6 hours. Amy spent the time writing her report for Admiral Davis. When she finished, she realized something had changed inside her. The fear she had felt when facing the alien blockade was gone. In its place was something much more dangerous. Cold, calculating, anger. The aliens wanted to keep humanity caged like animals. They called it protective quarantine, but Amy knew what it really was. It was fear. The galaxy was afraid of what humans might become if they were allowed to spread among the stars. Maybe they were right to be afraid. Back on Earth, Admiral Davis received Amy's report with growing fury. The president called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. For the first time in human history, every nation on Earth agreed on something. The blockade was an act of war. The murder of the New Boston crew was unforgivable. Humanity had tried to join the galactic community as friends. The aliens had responded by building a prison around Earth and shooting innocent civilians. If the galaxy wanted to see what Deathworlders could really do, humanity was ready to show them. Colonel Matt Harrison stood in the briefing room aboard the UES Defiant, studying the holographic display of the alien blockade. 3 weeks had passed since the murder of the New Boston crew. 3 weeks of preparation, planning, and anger that had spread across every human world. The fleet is ready, Colonel, reported Captain Kelly Morgan from her position at the tactical station. 12 ships, our best crews, and enough firepower to make the aliens notice us. Matt nodded. The human fleet was tiny compared to the thousands of alien vessels surrounding Earth. But Admiral Davis had been clear. This was not about winning a straight fight. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity would not be caged. What do we know about their tactics? Matt asked. Dr. Sam Rodriguez, the fleet's intelligence officer, activated another display. Based on our observations, they maintain perfect formations at all times. They respond to threats with overwhelming force, but they always warn first. They seem to follow very strict rules of engagement. Rules, Matt said with a bitter smile. They have rules for everything, don't they? Their entire society is built on order and predictability, Sam continued. They've had peace for so long that they've forgotten how to actually fight. Sergeant Ryan Bell looked up from his weapons console. What about their ships, Doc? Any weaknesses? Their technology is more advanced than ours, but their designs are focused on intimidation rather than combat effectiveness. Large, slow, impressive looking. They're built to make enemies surrender without fighting. Matt studied the data. The aliens had made a crucial mistake. They assumed that humans would react like other species in the galaxy, show them superior numbers and technology, and they would give up. They had never faced a species that got more dangerous when cornered. All right, people, here's the plan. We're going to punch a hole through their blockade and show them what happens when you threaten Earth. The human fleet launched 2 hours later, 12 ships against thousands, racing toward the alien formation at maximum speed. Matt watched the tactical display as his vessels spread into attack formation. Contact in 60 seconds, Kelly reported. The aliens are responding, 200 ships moving to intercept. Let them come, Matt said. Ryan, are the surprise packages ready? All systems green, Colonel. The aliens are about to learn why you don't mess with Deathworlders. The alien intercept force was led by Fleet Prime Gexvol of the Krillian Empire. His massive command ship, the Eternal Harmony, was 3 times larger than any human vessel. When the humans appeared on his sensors, he felt confident that this small force would surrender quickly. Human vessels, you are in violation of the quarantine decree. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted back to Earth. Matt's voice came back over the communication channel, calm and cold. Fleet Prime Gexvol, this is Colonel Matt Harrison of the Earth Defense Force. You murdered 73 innocent civilians 3 weeks ago. Today we return the favor. Gexvol was confused. Return what favor? We do not understand your meaning. You're about to. The human ship suddenly changed course, diving toward the alien formation instead of away from it. Their weapons powered up, targeting systems locking onto the nearest alien vessels. Impossible, Gexvol whispered. They are outnumbered 20-1. Why do they attack? His tactical officer, a nervous Villani named Sektar, checked his instruments twice. Fleet Prime, the humans are not following standard engagement protocols. They appear to be attempting a direct assault. Against superior numbers? That is tactically unsound. Warn them again. But the humans were done with warnings. The UES Ranger, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Helen Gray, fired the first shots of the war. Her missiles struck the alien ship Peaceful Dawn, punching through its shields and tearing massive holes in its hull. The alien vessel, built for ceremony rather than combat, began venting atmosphere into space. Return fire. Gexvol ordered. The alien ships opened up with their energy weapons, sending beams of destruction toward the human fleet. But the humans were no longer where the aliens expected them to be. Captain Tony Miller's ship, the UES Thunder, rolled beneath the alien fire and launched a spread of nuclear missiles at close range. The explosions lit up space like newborn stars, overwhelming the sensors of 3 alien vessels. How did they move so quickly? Sektar asked in panic. Their ships are smaller, Gexvol realized. More maneuverable, but that should not matter. Against our superior firepower, it would have mattered against any other species in the galaxy. But humans had learned to fight outnumbered and outgunned. They had learned to use speed, cunning, and desperation as weapons. Sergeant Kelly Morgan led a boarding party that did something no alien species had ever attempted. They abandoned their crippled ship in small pods and flew directly at the alien command vessel. Their pods were too small and fast for the alien weapons to track. The pods crashed through the hull of the Eternal Harmony like bullets through paper. Kelly and her Marines found themselves in corridors filled with aliens who had never seen combat. The Krillians were tall and graceful, with crystal-like skin that made them beautiful, but fragile. Surrender and you will not be harmed, Kelly announced, her rifle trained on a group of alien officers. The aliens stared at her in horror. They had never seen a human up close before. Kelly was short and stocky compared to them, with scars on her face from training accidents. To the peaceful aliens, she looked like a creature from their worst nightmares. You are a Deathworlder, one of them whispered, a killer species. That's right, Kelly said with a cold smile. And you just learned why that matters. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the space battle was turning into a lesson in human warfare. Dr. Sam Rodriguez had been right about the alien tactics. They followed predictable patterns, always trying to maintain perfect formations. Humans fought, like wolves, coordinating their attacks but adapting constantly to changing conditions. When the aliens tried to surround them, the humans scattered. When the aliens gave chase, the humans led them into ambushes. Captain Steve Adams, flying the UES Vengeance, demonstrated the human concept of acceptable losses. His ship was badly damaged, engines failing, hull breached in 6 places. Any sensible commander would have retreated. Instead, Steve aimed his dying ship at the largest alien vessel he could find and pushed his engines to maximum power. "This is for the New Boston crew," he broadcast on all frequencies as his ship accelerated toward the enemy. The Krillian heavy cruiser tried to move out of the way, but it was too large and slow. Steve's ship struck it amidships, the impact and explosion tearing both vessels apart. The sight of a human deliberately sacrificing his ship and crew for tactical advantage sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. "They choose death over defeat," Kexaval said in amazement. "This is not warfare, this is madness." But the madness was working. The human fleet had destroyed or disabled 20 alien ships while losing only 3 of their own. More importantly, they had broken through the blockade and were now racing toward the edge of the system. "Should we pursue them?" Sektar asked. Kexval watched the remaining human ships disappear into faster-than-light travel. "No. Send word to the Federation Council immediately. The humans are not like other species. They do not fear death. They weaponize it." The first human military expedition had lasted only 2 hours, but in those 2 hours they had shattered the galaxy's understanding of warfare. The Federation had expected the humans to surrender when faced with superior force. Instead, they had learned that humans became more dangerous when the odds were against them. On Earth, Admiral Davis received Colonel Harrison's report with grim satisfaction. The mission had succeeded beyond expectations. The aliens now knew that humanity would fight rather than submit to imprisonment. More importantly, the humans had captured 3 alien ships and taken dozens of prisoners. Dr. Sam Rodriguez was already studying the alien technology, learning how their weapons worked, how their shields functioned, how their faster-than-light drives operated. The galaxy had tried to contain the Deathworlders. Now the Deathworlders were loose among the stars, and they were learning fast. War had come to the galaxy. The aliens had started it by murdering innocent humans. Now they were about to discover why peaceful species should never awaken sleeping predators. The humans were coming, and they were bringing all the lessons that their harsh world had taught them. General Claire Thompson stood in the war room deep beneath Earth's surface, watching status reports flow in from across the galaxy. 6 months had passed since the first battle at the blockade. 6 months of humanity spreading through space like wildfire, taking what they needed and striking fear into every alien world they encountered. "Ma'am, we have confirmation from the Proxima operation," reported Colonel Danny White from his position at the communications console. "Captain Nina Brooks successfully captured the alien supply depot. 0 human casualties." Claire nodded without surprise. The aliens kept making the same mistakes over and over. They built their facilities in predictable locations, defended them with standard tactics, and assumed their enemies would fight by the same rules they followed. "What about the technology harvest?" she asked. Dr. Sam Rodriguez looked up from his analysis station. "Beyond our expectations, General. The aliens had stored enough advanced equipment there to outfit 50 of our ships. Their manufacturing technology alone will advance our capabilities by decades." The irony was not lost on Claire. The galaxy had tried to contain humanity to prevent them from acquiring advanced technology. Instead, they had created a situation where humans were forced to take that technology by violence. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell entered the room, his uniform dusty from the transport down from orbit. He had just returned from a deep reconnaissance mission behind enemy lines. "Report, Commander," Claire ordered. "Ma'am, the situation in the core systems is worse than we thought. For them, I mean." Ryan activated the holographic display, showing a 3-dimensional map of local space. Red dots marked human-controlled areas. Blue showed alien territory. We now control 17 star systems and over 40 major installations. Resistance? Minimal. The aliens evacuate most facilities before we arrive. They seem more interested in running than fighting. Dr. Sam pulled up another display showing captured alien communications. I've been monitoring their transmissions, General. They're calling us the nightmare species now. There are reports of entire star systems evacuating when they detect human ships approaching. Claire studied the intelligence reports. The pattern was clear. Humanity was not just winning battles. They were breaking the alien will to fight. Every engagement showed the same result. Human forces would appear, adapt to local conditions, within hours, and overwhelm defenders who had never faced a truly determined enemy. Ma'am, Colonel White interrupted. Priority transmission from Admiral Davis. Operation Deep Strike is a go. Claire felt a surge of anticipation. Deep Strike was the most ambitious human operation yet. A direct assault on Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Federation. If successful, it would cut the head off the alien command structure. Put me through to all field commanders, she ordered. Within minutes, the holographic display showed the faces of human officers from across the galaxy. Each commanded forces that were striking deep into alien territory, capturing resources, technology, and strategic positions. Captain Helen Gray appeared from the bridge of her captured alien battleship. Ma'am, the conversion of alien vessels is ahead of schedule. We now have 37 enemy ships flying under human command. Outstanding. What's their combat effectiveness? Better than the original alien crews, ma'am. Turns out their weapons work much better when you're willing to use them aggressively. Commander Tony Miller joined the conference from a mining station humanity had captured 3 days earlier. General, the aliens abandoned over 200 mining facilities in this sector alone. They're just giving up territory rather than fight for it. Any word on why? Claire asked. Dr. Sam answered that question. I've been studying their psychology, ma'am. These species have lived in peace for thousands of years. They've forgotten how to cope with determined opposition. When faced with an enemy that doesn't surrender, their entire decision-making process breaks down. Captain Kelly Morgan appeared on screen from her position aboard a human assault ship. General, my Marines have been questioning captured aliens. They keep talking about something called the Ancient Protocols. Apparently, there are emergency procedures for dealing with what they call apex predator species. Claire leaned forward. Explain. From what we can gather, there have been other species like us in the past, Deathworld survivors who became too dangerous for the galaxy to handle. The Federation has protocols for dealing with them. What kind of protocols? Kelly's expression was grim. Complete extermination, ma'am. They're planning to sterilize every world humanity has touched. The conference room fell silent. Every human commander understood what that meant. The aliens were so terrified of humanity that they were willing to commit genocide to stop them. Ma'am, Ryan spoke up. There's something else. My deep reconnaissance teams have detected massive fleet movements near the galactic core. Thousands of ships all heading toward human space. Dr. Sam pulled up sensor data from across the galaxy. He's right, General. It looks like every species in the Federation is contributing ships to this fleet. I estimate over 10,000 vessels. Claire studied the tactical situation. Humanity controlled less than 50 ships total, even counting captured alien vessels. Against 10,000 enemies, conventional tactics would be suicide. Fortunately, humans had never been limited to conventional tactics. All commanders, listen carefully. The aliens are massing for a final assault. They want to wipe us out completely rather than risk us spreading further. She paused, looking at each face on the display. They're about to learn why that's a mistake. Captain Steve Adams, commanding a squadron of converted alien ships, spoke from the edge of Krillian space. Ma'am, what are your orders? We're going to give them exactly what they fear most. Commander Bell, I want every human asset in enemy territory to begin immediate terror operations. Hit their civilian infrastructure, disrupt their communications, make them afraid to leave their homeworlds. Ryan smiled coldly. Guerrilla warfare, ma'am? Exactly. These aliens have never faced an enemy that strikes from the shadows. Captain Morgan, Your Marines are authorized to use any means necessary to destabilize alien command structures. Kelly nodded. Understood, General. What about rules of engagement? There are no rules when the enemy is planning genocide. Make them understand that declaring war on humanity was the worst mistake in their species' history. The conference ended with each commander returning to their forces. Within hours, human units across the galaxy began a campaign of psychological warfare that the aliens had no defense against. Captain Nina Brooks led a raid on an alien communication hub that coordinated traffic for 12 star systems. Instead of destroying it, her team modified the systems to broadcast footage of human combat operations on every channel. Aliens across those systems watched in horror as humans demonstrated their willingness to fight against impossible odds. Commander Tony Miller's forces captured a major alien university and released all of their research on Deathworld species. The data spread through alien networks like a virus, showing exactly how dangerous humans could become if they survived and spread through the galaxy. Captain Helen Gray took her captured alien battleship to the heart of Vallani space and broadcast a simple message on all frequencies. This is Captain Helen Gray of the Terran Defense Force. This ship used to belong to your Navy. Now it serves humanity. Surrender now, or more of your ships will join our fleet. The psychological impact was devastating. Aliens began to see human-controlled ships as symbols of their own weakness. Every captured vessel was proof that their technology, their tactics, and their courage were all inferior to the Deathworld species they had tried to contain. But the most effective operation was carried out by Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell, deep in Federation space. His team infiltrated the central data archives on Nexus Prime and discovered the complete records of the ancient protocols. The files contained detailed plans for the systematic extermination of Deathworld species, biological weapons designed to target human DNA, plans to bombard Earth with asteroids until nothing lived on the surface, contingencies for hunting down and killing every human in the galaxy. Ryan transmitted these files to every human commander and had them broadcast on every alien communication network. The galaxy learned that the Peaceful Federation had detailed plans for genocide ready to implement at any time. The revelation shattered what remained of alien morale. Their own people began to question leaders who would plan such atrocities. Some species withdrew from the Federation entirely, rather than participate in the planned genocide. General Claire Thompson received the reports with satisfaction. The aliens had wanted to fight a war of extermination. Instead, they were getting a lesson in why Deathworld species had survived when others had perished. Humanity was not just winning battles. They were remaking the galaxy in their own image, forcing peaceful species to confront the realities of warfare they had forgotten existed. The final confrontation was coming. 10,000 alien ships against fewer than 50 human vessels. By every measure of logic and military science, humanity should be annihilated. But logic had never been humanity's strongest weapon. Their greatest advantage was something the galaxy had never encountered before: the absolute refusal to surrender, no matter what the odds. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching the largest fleet in galactic history approach through space. 10,000 alien ships moved in perfect formation toward the human defensive line. Behind him, fewer than 60 human vessels waited for the battle that would decide the fate of both species. "Sir, the alien fleet will be in weapons range in 30 minutes, reported Captain Derek Johnson from the tactical station. Their lead elements are already broadcasting surrender demands. Jake looked at the communication display showing the face of Supreme Admiral Vex Thera, leader of the combined alien armada. The ancient creature looked like a mixture of crystal and organic matter, its multiple eyes glowing with righteous fury. "Deathworld vermin, you have 30 standard time units to power down your weapons and prepare for judgment. The galaxy will tolerate your existence no longer." Jake activated the response channel. "Supreme Admiral, this is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Terran Defense Force. The only judgment here today will be the one history makes about your decision to commit genocide against innocent humans." "Innocent?" Vexithara's voice cracked like breaking stone. Your species has murdered thousands of civilized beings. You have stolen our technology, captured our ships, terrorized our people. You are a plague that must be cleansed from the galaxy. You started this war when you murdered the crew of the New Boston. Everything that followed was your choice. The alien admiral's multiple eyes focused with hatred. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Continue to resist and we will make your entire species suffer before we exterminate you. Jake smiled coldly. Let me explain something about humans, Admiral. We get more dangerous when you threaten us. You want to see what Deathworlders can really do? You're about to find out. The transmission ended. Jake turned to his bridge crew, men and women who had volunteered to face impossible odds, because that's what humans did when cornered. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Today we fight not just for humanity but for the right of any species to exist without fear. The aliens call us monsters. Let's show them what monsters can accomplish. Captain Nina Brooks commanded the UES Defiant on the right flank of the human formation. Her ship was one of the original Earth vessels, scarred from dozens of battles, but still fighting. She watched the alien armada approach and felt no fear, only determination. Ma'am, the aliens are launching their first wave, reported Lieutenant Tony Miller. 2,000 ships all heading straight for us. Nina studied the tactical display. The aliens were using the same predictable tactics they had employed throughout the war. Overwhelming force applied in a direct assault. It had worked against every enemy they had faced before, but they had never faced humans. All ships, implement Protocol Omega, Nina broadcast to the human fleet. Protocol Omega was humanity's final strategic innovation. Instead of meeting the alien assault head-on, the human ships suddenly scattered in all directions. To the aliens, it looked like the Deathworld fleet was breaking apart in panic. Supreme Admiral Vexithara watched the human formation dissolve with satisfaction. As expected, they flee when faced with true military might. All units pursue and destroy. But the humans were not fleeing, they were hunting. Captain Kelly Morgan's ship, the UES Vengeance, had positioned itself behind a large asteroid. As the first wave of alien ships passed by, she emerged from hiding and struck at their rear elements. Her weapons tore through ships designed for intimidation rather than actual combat. Target their command vessels, Kelly ordered her weapons officer. Take out their coordination and the rest will fall apart. The human strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of fighting the entire alien fleet at once, they had broken it into smaller groups and were destroying each group separately. The aliens found themselves surrounded by enemies who appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Commander Ryan Bell led a squadron of captured alien ships against the enemy's left flank. The sight of their own vessels firing at them with human ruthlessness broke the morale of entire alien formations. "This is impossible," transmitted one alien captain. "Those are our ships. How are the humans controlling them?" "Because we're better at using your technology than you are," Ryan replied before launching a spread of missiles that crippled 3 alien vessels. Dr. Sam Rodriguez had spent months studying alien psychology and tactics. He had identified their greatest weakness. They could not adapt to unexpected situations. When their careful plans fell apart, they became paralyzed with indecision. The human fleet exploited this weakness without mercy. Every time the aliens tried to regroup, human forces would appear from unexpected directions. Every time they established a formation, human tactics would render it useless. Captain Steve Adams commanded the UES Thunder in the center of the battle. His ship was surrounded by dozens of alien vessels, but instead of trying to escape, he turned directly toward the largest concentration of enemies. "All power to forward shields," he ordered. "We're going right through them." The Thunder smashed through the alien formation like a bullet through glass. The Deathworld ship's heavy armor and aggressive design allowed it to survive impacts that would have destroyed any alien vessel. Behind Steve, the rest of the human fleet followed through the gap he had created, turning the alien formation inside out. Supreme Admiral Vexithara watched his perfect battle plan disintegrate in real time. The humans were not fighting like any species in galactic history. They used their smaller numbers as an advantage. striking from multiple directions and disappearing before the aliens could respond. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. His tactical officer's voice shook with fear. "Over 3,000, Supreme Admiral. The humans have lost fewer than 20 ships." "Impossible. We outnumber them 50 to 1. The Deathworlders are not fighting a conventional battle, sir. They are using tactics we have no defense against." On the human flagship, Admiral Jake Morrison coordinated the battle with calm precision. He had studied every alien engagement since the war began. He knew their weaknesses, their fears, and their limitations. "All units, begin Phase 2, he ordered. Phase 2 was the psychological component of the human strategy. Instead of simply destroying alien ships, the human forces began broadcasting footage from the battles directly to alien homeworlds. Billions of peaceful aliens watched in horror as their mighty armada was torn apart by a handful of Deathworld vessels. The impact was immediate. Across the galaxy, alien populations began demanding their governments end the war before humanity reached their worlds. Some species withdrew their ships from the battle entirely, unwilling to sacrifice their people for a war they now realized they could not win. Captain Helen Gray led the final assault on the alien command ship. Her boarding parties consisted of humans who had spent their lives adapting to hostile environments. The aliens they faced had lived their entire lives in perfect safety. "Surrender your ship," Helen announced as her Marines secured the bridge of the alien flagship. "Your Admiral can end this war right now." Supreme Admiral Vexithera stared at the human soldiers in disbelief. They were smaller than his own people, scarred from countless battles, carrying weapons that looked primitive compared to alien technology. But they had just defeated the greatest military force in galactic history. "How?" he whispered. "How did you defeat us?" Helen smiled grimly. "Because you forgot the most important rule of warfare. It's not about the size of your fleet or the power of your weapons. It's about how far you're willing to go to win." The Battle of Saul's Edge, as historians would later call it, ended with the complete surrender of the Galactic Federation fleet. Over 7,000 alien ships either destroyed or captured, their crews either dead or prisoners. The human casualties numbered less than 300. But the real victory was not military. It was the psychological transformation of the galaxy itself. The peaceful species that had ruled for millennia suddenly realized that peace was only possible when stronger powers chose to allow it. 1 year later, Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the council chambers of what was now called the Terran hegemony. Representatives from hundreds of species waited nervously for him to speak. The galaxy had learned to fear humans, but they had also learned to respect them. "The war is over," Jake announced. "Humanity offers peace to all species willing to accept our leadership. Those who choose to resist will learn why the galaxy now trembles when Deathworlders rise." Dr. Monica Lewis, now serving as humanity's ambassador to the galaxy, stepped forward. "The old Federation is dead. The new order will be built on strength, not weakness. On truth, not comfortable lies." Captain Derek Johnson looked out through the great windows of the council chamber at the fleet of human and allied ships in orbit above the capital world. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of species, all flying under human command. The galaxy had tried to cage humanity and failed. Now humanity was rebuilding galactic civilization according to Deathworld principles. The weak would be protected by the strong. Peace would be maintained by those willing to fight for it. And if anyone forgot those lessons, the children of Earth would be there to remind them why monsters sometimes make the best guardians.